Hey TMFG community, in today's episode of Ask TMFG, we're going to be discussing the tax changes coming in 2023. Remember, if you do enjoy our content, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube video, because we love doing these videos for you. In today's episode of Ask TMFG, we're going to be taking a look at some of the changes that are coming to your taxes in 2023. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to hand it over to Carlo to get us started. Carlo?
Thanks, John. It's a new year, 2023. And what typically happens in a new year, there are changes to some numbers that you should be aware of as taxpayers in Canada. There are 8 specific common tax numbers that you should be aware of that I'll be talking to specifically, 6 being for the working Canadians and 2 for older Canadians. So let's start with one of the obvious ones, RSP contribution room. In 2023, the maximum RSP contribution room is $30,780. In 2022, that number was $29,210. We've seen an increase of about 5.4% in that contribution limit. So if you are in the position that you can maximize your RSP contribution room, those are the numbers. $30,780 is the maximum that you can do. Number 2, tax-free savings accounts. I know we've already done a video on this, but if you aren't already aware, the tax-free savings account contribution limit for 2023 is $6,500, up from $6,000 in previous years. That's an increase of about 8.3%. Typically, the Government of Canada increases the tax-free savings account contribution room in $500 increments at the rate of inflation. I know you're aware of what inflation has done, so it was finally time for that RSP contribution limit to be increased. And if you've been eligible since the inception of the TFSA in 2009, the maximum that you could be contributing is $88,000. Third one, the yearly maximum pensionable earnings. Now, this has to do with the amount that you would be contributing into CPP, or the Canadian pension, or the Canada Pension Plan. So the maximum threshold for making the threshold for making maximum contributions is $66,600. You don't have to worry about a thing. That just gets deducted by your employer from your pay every pay period. And that's up from $64,900, an increase of about $1,500 or $1,700 from previous year. So for those of you that earn in excess of $66,600 throughout the year, you'll notice a bump in your pay at some point during the year because you'll have paid up your CPP contributions and you'll no longer have to make the contributions, and you'll see more on your net pay. Fourth, the family loan rate. So the family loan rate is a strategy that households can employ, and the purpose is to essentially lend a lower income spouse money to shift future investment income into the lower income spouse's marginal tax bracket. If you're earning less income, then you'll have lower marginal tax brackets. So in order to achieve this, the higher income spouse lends money to the lower income spouse, and you have to charge interest. And that interest has to be paid by January 30th of the year following the lending year. That rate is 3%. So on a $10,000 loan to the lower income spouse, that would be $300 that would be due in interest. The lower income spouse would have to show on paper a $300 payment to the higher income spouse by January 30th of the year following the lending year. Number 5, medical expenses. So on your tax return, you'll notice that if you have medical expenses in excess of a certain amount, you can claim the tax credit for it. And that amount is 3% of your net worldwide income, or in 2023, $2,635, whichever is less. So essentially, if you earn in excess of about $88,000, you can claim medical expenses in excess of $2,635 and claim that tax credit. And number 6, the final tax number for working Canadians to be aware of is the basic personal amount. And essentially what this is the first amount of income that's earned is tax-free, or you get a tax credit for it. In 2023, For Canadians earning less than approximately $165,000, the basic personal amount is $15,000. So your first $15,000, you're eligible for a tax credit. For Canadians who earn in excess of $165,000, that basic personal amount is clawed back slightly, down all the way to $13,521. Essentially, the CRA is saying if you earn in excess of $165,000, you're going to get less tax-free income. Now, let's go to the two numbers that older Canadians should be aware of. And the first one is the OAS Clawback Threshold. Now, for Canadians in excess or older than age 65, you're eligible for old age security. That is an income-tested benefit that the CRA says if you earn over a specific amount, you'll start to see some clawback. And that amount for 2023 is $86,912. In 2022, that number was $81,761. And that's an increase of 6.3%, which is closer to that inflation number that we saw in 2022. So they're increasing that OAS threshold to fall in line closer to inflation. So for those Canadians over the age of age 65 and receiving old age security, you'll start to see a clawback of that benefit when your income is above $86,912. And the second tax number to be aware of as an older Canadian, it's the age amount. And so for those Canadians above age 65, you're able to claim another tax credit for additional income. And for 2023, that number is $8,396, up from $7,898 in 2022. And that's another increase of about 6.3%, falling in line with inflation. So those are the 8 tax numbers that are fairly common that Canadians should be aware of. If you have any questions about this or how it affects you, please don't hesitate to contact one of your advisors at the McClelland Financial Group. We're happy to have a conversation with you about that.
Perfect. Thank you, Carlo. Just want to check if you guys are still awake. That was a lot of tax numbers to go through. A lot of good information, though. And like Carlo mentioned, that's not something that you need to memorize going forward, but some key points there to pay attention to. And like he said, if any questions that do arise from this, utilize us, your financial advisors, as a resource, and we can be able to assist you as we go through it. But that's another episode of Ask TMFG for today. So always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But until next time, I'm Iaconetti.
I'm Carlo Cansino.
And this has been Ask TMFG.